Hey there, hope you're all staying safe. I'm Dougie, for those of you who don't know me, and I'm the leader of Gracemount Church. And I've been asked to share just a wee thought with you this morning. Over the last few weeks in Gracemount Church, we've been reading the story of Elisha. Now, Elisha is a prophet, or was a prophet, should I say, set apart by the Lord to deliver his word to Israel. He lived about 3,000 years ago, give or take. And he was a real miracle man. Not just little miracles, but healing people from leprosy and even raising a young boy from the dead. There are so many great Elisha stories, and I'd love to share one with you this morning. You'll find the story in the second book of Kings, that's 2 Kings chapter 6 and verses 8 to 23. The king of Syria is at war with Israel, but despite being the superior military power, he just cannot get the upper hand. He suspects there's a traitor in the ranks, but this prophet Elisha has been divulging his secret plans, and Israel's king is never caught off guard. But what if he could eliminate Elisha's influence? The prophet was staying in Dothan, and so with a change of tactics, the king sends horses and chariots and a strong force to surround the city. Elisha's servant called out in fear and distress, "Oh no, my lord, what shall we do?" They're surrounded with no way out and vastly outnumbered. The deck is overwhelmingly stacked against them. All seems lost. But the prophet answered, "Don't be afraid." Then he said, "Those who are with us are more than those who are with them." His response was perhaps more bewildering than reassuring. His arithmetic seems a bit out of touch with reality. Surely they were facing impossible odds. But the man of God prayed, "Open his eyes, Lord, so that he may see." Then the Lord opened the servant's eyes. He looked and he saw the hills full of horses and chariots of fire all round Elisha. The Lord's army was there to fight for them, more numerous and more powerful than any force the Syrian king could muster. Do you know, I think most people know what it feels like to be in a desperate situation, to feel that the deck is overwhelmingly stacked against them. And that's true for believers and unbelievers alike. Some challenges may feel more immediate, for example, a crisis of health or loss of income. Others may feel more like an endurance race, testing your stamina to the limit. Perhaps raising a profoundly disabled child or even coronavirus. And some take us right to the very edge, to the end of our natural resources. Something has to give, but we simply cannot see a way out. All seems lost. People might try to reassure us with kind words and platitudes, but these often fall on deaf ears. In our story, both the man of God and his servant are in an identical situation, but their reactions are poles apart. The only difference is their perception of reality, looking with natural eyes. The servant is understandably filled with fear. Surely they were facing impossible odds. But his vision was impaired. Elisha, on the other hand, was able to see with spiritual eyes. I wonder, are you blind to the spiritual reality that the Lord would move heaven and earth to fight for you? In our story, he sends a great heavenly host to protect just 2 people. How much more will he protect you, his children? But Elisha and his servant weren't removed from this perilous situation. They still had to exercise faith and confront the soldiers. Elisha turned to the Lord in prayer. He asked the Lord to strike them with blindness. This was not physical blindness, but mental blindness, which altered their perception of reality. They could physically see, but remained unaware of what was actually happening. And so they blindly followed the prophet right into the heart of Samaria. Samaria was the capital city and residence of the king of Israel. These soldiers were stood in the stronghold of the enemy. Then Elisha said, "Lord, open the eyes of these men so that they can see." Imagine the panic when they suddenly realize where they are. They're surrounded with no way out and vastly outnumbered. The deck is overwhelmingly stacked against them. All seems lost. Sound familiar? The Lord has turned the situation entirely on its head, and He can do the same for you and yours. Hope you have a great day.